About 3 seconds. Okay, we're live now.
So we check that. So, yes, before we start.
Okay. This is Money FM 93.7 FM, your business talk radio station. And right about now, we are getting into accounting for beginners with Mr. Lusambo. And today's topic is financial discipline. Good morning, Mr. Lusambo.
Good morning. Thank you. Actually, it's not accounting for beginners. It's very much advanced. It's accounting and business. The one for beginners was stopped a few years ago,
Oh,
last year. Yes.
okay.
How are you, Cynthia?
I'm good, thanks. How are you? How's the weather? It's finally raining.
You've got to believe me, Cynthia. The weather is just awesomely fantastic. I'm enjoying myself.
Mhm.
Yes.
All right. So, first things first. The first thing that I'm going to ask you is, what is financial discipline and why is it important?
Yes, Cynthia. I think financial discipline is of utmost importance to all of us. Now, before I can even talk about what financial discipline is, I think it would be nice for us to be first define what discipline is. So, how do we define discipline? Now, you see that discipline is simply a way of behaving that shows a willingness to obey rules and orders. Now, you agree with me, Cynthia, that most people around the world, even in our setup, we associate discipline to social behaviors. Have you seen? But one thing that we forget that actually discipline also applies to how you manage your own monies. Now, this one becomes a bit tricky because nobody wants to be told how to use their monies. And because nobody wants to be told, this is why most people are always broke because everybody is scared of advising them on how they should be able to use their funds. Sometimes even your young brother, young sister, or your mom may have money at their disposal. You can't advise because they are scared. So here, when you talk about financial discipline, this one refers to how well you are able to conform to spending and saving the plans you have set to achieve your monetary goals. So financial discipline is going to help us focus on monetary goals. How well do you plan to your monetary goals, Cynthia? When you make a plan that you want to buy a plot next year in 2022, how well will you be able to conform to those kind of plans? That would be very nice, Cynthia.
Okay, so since you've talked about the fact that most people do not uh, find it easy to be financially disciplined, so why is it so hard? Somebody out there would love to know why it's so hard for so many people to have a financial discipline, even when they may want to. Because each one of us wants to save some money, wants to make sure that they make a proper budget, but then it's hard.
Yes, Cynthia, that is very true. Saving, being financial discipline is not something you just wake up and discover that you have. It takes time, it takes patience, it takes a lot of mental strength, mental restraint. Because sometimes, you may be walking in town, you see something you like, you have cash in your pocket, in your purse, and then you want to spend it. It has
Mhm.
become so hard for most people to be financially disciplined. However, there are many reasons why it's even so hard, especially now that we are living the times of the pandemic. So we are going to talk about a few things that have made it so hard for most people to be financially disciplined. Some people it is purely because of lack of planning. If you're the person that spends money without planning, that may be hard for you to be financially disciplined because you don't have a plan. A plan, when you talk about in financial terms, it's simply a budget expressed in monetary terms. Have you seen? So you have numbers attached. If you get a 10,000 at the end of the month, how are you going to spend it? So lack of planning ahead is one reason why most people find it so hard to be financially disciplined. Also, just lack of accountability. When you have money, are you accountable somehow? Do you sit yourself down and see how well you spent that money? Or do you just spend money because it's yours, you worked for it, and nobody, you are not accountable to yourself in any way? Do you get a piece of paper and then review what you plan to spend during the month and how much to spend? And do you also see where you may have gone over the board? Also, lack of priorities. Sometimes you find that you have money. Now it's the time for you to show off. You call friends, you call relatives, you call people, neighbors, even people don't know you have money. You want them to know you have the money. You keep spending money on less important items. But also in other situations, people are finding so hard, especially in the time of COVID, to be financially disciplined. Also, but because of so many responsibilities, you find that some people have made themselves to become breadwinners in their families when they
Mm.
shouldn't be breadwinners to begin with. So they want to show everybody in the family they are the ones who have a helping hand. Now, we are not saying that that is bad, but that could be the reason why you don't have financial freedom, because you always want to be the one spending money. Even when other relatives have, other family members have, you want to be the one to spend your money. So that becomes so hard for most people to be able to save. But if we were going to talk about the main common reasons, lack of discipline, lack of planning, lack of priorities, those can be also other causes of lack of financial discipline.
Okay. So is there a relationship between financial discipline and poverty?
Yes, there is a relationship. No matter how much money you make, Cynthia, in a month, if you don't plan ahead how you're going to use that money, you'll be doing what they call hand to mouth. Now, hand to mouth is a case that must be avoided at all cost. You don't
Mm.
want to live life like a non-entity. You don't want to live like life like somebody who's never been to school. Even people who've never been to school, some of them are so good at planning. But when you have been in school, you have an advantage because you understand the value of money better. You're able to plan more effectively than somebody who didn't have a financial education. So when you have a financial education, it helps you to plan better and properly. So poverty comes in because you don't have anything. Here's an example. Let's say you have a car.
Mhm.
You save up money, Cynthia, maybe 100,000 or so. What you do, you spend all that money on your vehicle, you buy a car. So tomorrow morning, you have a serious problem. Maybe your mother is in the hospital, they need money. Maybe your father or anybody who's close to you, or even yourself, you have nothing to spend. What do? You sell your car. You sort out problems. Next, you sell your TV, you sell your fridge because you don't have any savings at all. So
Mm.
lack of financial discipline may lead you to poverty because you've spent everything that could have been saved. In an emergency that you have a problem, you want to use that saving, but you don't have. So what do you do? In the end, you begin to do what? You begin to borrow money from people. Now, borrowing is a sign of poverty. Every time you borrow money, you should know you are becoming a slave to somebody who's lending you money. When you borrow money, you're going to be prepared to look for money to come and pay back the person that you owe that money. So if you get your salary, the next month is going to go to someone you owe. So what do you do? Again, you need someone to lend you more money.
Mm.
Why? Because of lack of financial discipline. So sometimes it's okay to just say, I don't have, because you want to save something for yourself. You never know what tomorrow brings. We may go on a lockdown. Anything may happen. Now imagine you have no saving whatsoever. You are the miss. I spend it all. So that leads you to. So there's a serious relationship between lack of financial discipline and poverty. Even though you have thousands, Cynthia, if you don't have discipline, eventually you're going to drown in deep poverty, and that will be not so nice.
Okay. So how can one know the difference between what they really need or what they want? Because sometimes our
Yes.
wants may seem like needs at some point, and then you find that in the long run you realize that that thing wasn't even needed. You find that you're not even using it. So how can you realize in the first place that this thing I shouldn't buy it?
Yeah, this is what we said earlier. We talked about, lack of accountability and lack of priorities. If you
Mm.
set priorities in your life, in your financial life, you are going to know what to spend your money on because you're going to know what you need. Priorities come first. For example, if you get a 10,000 quarter in a month, and then you know you need meal, You need transportation for you to go because when you get that 10,000 kwacha, you have to spend some money to get that money at the end of the month. And so what do? You have to buy lunch at a place of work. You have to use some transportation at a place of work. And also you have to buy food at home where you live. You are supposed to pay rent. So you set priorities. And then you can even say, okay, fine, I need to pay rent. I need money for my transport. I need money for my lunch. These ones are being sorted out because I need these ones. You see? And then you begin to look for anything else that you need. Maybe you just have one pair of shoes. And then you say, okay, fine. I've been using one pair of shoes for the past 3 months. Can I buy a pair of shoes this month for myself? Because you need it. Can I buy another shirt because I need to look good at a place of work? Can I buy a new tie for myself because it's needed? You just have one, so you need to have two or three for you to be able to change. But when you're walking on the street, you see a nice shoe which you didn't plan for. Just because it's nice, you buy it. You don't have priorities. Just because you have money doesn't mean you have to spend it. Spend it because you planned for it. Just because people call you that they have problems doesn't mean you should solve their problems. No, things should not work like that.
But
So
what if it's an emergency? It's your
yes,
family and family comes first. For example, your mom gets sick.
okay. So what we are saying here is that you have to know when to spend money on family and when not to spend money on family. Believe me, these relatives, they have monies. If you knew how much they had, you would stop giving them money. But do you know why they keep asking you for money? Because they feel your money doesn't have where to spend it on. You are disorganized. So even when they have, their money has got priorities. They save their money and still come back and ask from you. Then the people you help, it will shock you they are progressing in life than you, the person that is helping them. Why? Because for them, they have priorities. Even when they have some money, they won't use it, they'll keep it. But they'll call you to ask for money from you. So we are not saying don't help relatives. If your mom is sick, that is a unique situation. Your mom is in the hospital, you can't say I'm saving money. No. Your mom's life is more precious than any saving you can ever have. You understand? So that way, we can't compare that to misplaced priorities. No, it's different. But just unnecessary giving is what we're talking about. It can lead you to straight poverty because you don't have priorities. So when you have money, plan ahead. Even before you have the money, put a list of things that you need that are important to you, and then be disciplined enough to stick to that. Remember what we said earlier, Cynthia. What did we say? We said at the beginning that discipline is a way of behaving that shows a willingness to obey rules and orders. Now, though most people associate discipline to social behavior, it also applies to how you manage your money. So being able to be disciplined in how you manage your resources, even though you have the right to spend it all, is a sign of discipline. Being able to stick to your budget is a sign of discipline because it saves you a lot of stress at the end of the day.
All right. So, how can one achieve financial discipline at each of the following levels? Talk of the personal level, family level, and also business level. And
Okay.
you can focus on what to avoid at each level.
All right. So now that becomes extremely important, Cynthia. And I like that question. This is relatively so because usually in families that's where we're having a big problem, especially if let's say you're the one who's in employment in a family. Now, if you look at those levels, we're saying how can you achieve discipline at personal level? So let's go to personal level and go to family. Personal level is where like a person like yourself, Cynthia, you are working. At the end of the month, you're going to be paid. You are entitled to that money because you worked for it. It's your money.
Mhm.
You understand? So you can decide whether to simply walk in a shop and get an iPhone because you want to have an iPhone. You can go in a shop and get it. Or you can decide to walk in a shop and get a beautiful handbag. It's your money. Have you seen? We're not saying it's bad to spend money on yourself. But what we are saying, why should you have an expensive phone, Cynthia, if you have cheap contacts? For what? So
Because you
you
have
can't.
good technology.
So what we are saying, don't spend so much money on buying an iPhone, which you don't really need at this particular time.
Mm.
Why should you spend so much money getting this phone when you can just spend a little amount of money, get a phone that you need for communication for now? because we don't really need this expensive iPhone as at today. We're not saying it's bad to have an iPhone or to have an expensive phone. It's okay. You need to have something nice for yourself. But look at your finances. Is it really true that today, if you spend your salary on buying an iPhone, you're going to have something to cater for you the whole month? You're going to have something to make you live comfortable without borrowing from anybody? Is it really true you're going to have all those money saved? It's not true sometimes. So personal discipline requires that even when you have the right to spend your own money, spend it on things that are going to add value to your bank account and to your life. You get paid, you say, okay, I get paid 5,000, and this money finishes every month. What is it that I can spend this money on that will help me have an income at the end of the day away from my employment? And then you make that plan and then you stick to it. At a personal level, it is your money. If you want, you can pay for your sister's school fees. But is it really true that you are the only one in the family who can pay for your sister's school fees?
Well,
Yes,
sometimes that's the case.
yes, sometimes that's the thing. But do you know why everybody comes to ask from you? People ask from you at the person of they say, no, you're so caring, and they even appreciate you so much. They say, no, this one she's reliable, she's caring, she's nice. You know why they tell you that? Because they want you to keep giving them. If they care so much about you, they see how much you are getting stressed at the place of work. They see what kind of clothing you're wearing. They see where you sleep, what kind of blankets you use. They would say, would you please save up some money, maybe buy yourself some nice blankets? Or could you sell some money, maybe make yourself the cabin? But they keep appreciating you, giving you the responsibility you shouldn't have. You understand? We're not saying it is wrong. Yes, it's your money, but be disciplined. Don't just spend it because somebody says you are nice, you are kind, you are generous. No. When you have problems tomorrow, the people you give, how many are going to give? If right now Cynthia asked you to get your phone and check through your contacts, how many of the people you give money can give you 10,000 kwacha right now if you need it? You'll be shocked to find that maybe there's no one who can even do that. They'll just say, you don't say your 10,000, that's your support. But you keep giving them, you sacrifice sometimes all your salary, it goes. And then they appreciate you. Then you keep going on food for work. Even borrowing transport is not right. So at a personal level, you need to have a plan. As an individual, as Cynthia, where do I want to be in 2022? Okay, my salary is 5,000. How am I going to be spending it? I have mom. Okay, yes. How much can I be helping with mom? Because also helping, you have to see who really needs the help in your family. Don't just help anybody. See who truly needs your help at the moment. Focus on the person that needs help the most. The rest can sort themselves out. Because it's not your job to make everyone's life better, to be honest. You need to also save up so that you can, when you make more money, you can give because you have enough. But when you also need help, why should you be also giving too much? What the Bible says, remove the straw from your eye first, then you can look at your neighbor's eye and remove it. So you need help, but you also want to be giving. Why? But a personal level want you to be very much disciplined. It's important. But when you go to family level is sensitive because family members will talk, especially if you are working, and then to make it even worse, you have a car. Most people in our setup, they think when you have a car, you have money. They don't know how you bought that car. You understand? So everyone wants to call you and ask for money from you because of a car, which is not right. They don't know that that car needs fuel, that car needs service, that car needs a lot of things. It's like a child. You need to spend on it every now and then. So just because of a car, they think you have enough. So at a family level, you have to distinguish. You have to differentiate who really needs help at that family setup. Is it your mom who needs help the most? Is it your sister? Is it your cousin? Who? You are not, don't make yourself a breadwinner before your time. Humbleness means being able to know when to help. It's okay to say, I don't have, even if it's your relative, it's fine. Don't spend everything. Now, if you, for example, if you're a married man, it's different because what helps you to be disciplined in a family level when you're a family person, maybe a married woman or a married man. As a married man, when you make money, you have to look at that money as family money, not your personal money. So looking at that money which you make as a married man, as family money, helps you to realize that there will be what? Accountability somewhere. You're going to account for those monies to somebody somewhere. You have a family at home who are looking up to you. So whatever monies you make, Look at it as, as the family money. Even if your wife works, just act as if you don't know your wife works, because you know as a family man, it's your job to provide for your family. So whatever money you make, let it be what? Let it be family money. Look at it as it's family money because you are married. That means you plan with your spouse and things like that. But also when it comes to relatives, we're not saying don't help relatives. It's good to be able to help because it's a family. You know, at family level, you have to be financially disciplined. Not don't just send money to anybody who calls you that they want money. They don't work like that. These relatives, some of them, they will be asking for me. They even have a job. They are relatives who have a job of just asking for money. They call you, they call someone else, and before the month ends, they have thousands of questions they've asked from different people. And you are sending money still poor. The people you are giving are getting better by day. So we're not saying you have to be stingy. What we are saying, set priorities. Don't let other people's programs come and disturb what you want to achieve financially. You understand? Only release the monies when actually somebody really needs it. And at some point, I sat down uh, because of too much giving. One time we made the calculation of how much I had given in that particular month. I found I had given out about 12,700, just giving people, relatives, friends. No, I'm stuck. I sent 500 kwacha, 50 kwacha, 200. Before I knew it, in one particular month, I had given out 12,700. And I was so surprised. I said, who? If I had saved up this money, it could have helped. Of course, some people that I gave didn't needed it. Some people didn't need it. So it's important to see who really needs my help in my family. And then focus on those ones so that you can have something for yourself. So that when you improve yourself financially, then you can give anyhow you like because you have enough. So at family level, we want to stick to no, not over giving. No, give when it's necessary. It's okay.
Okay,
And
so
then
there's this.
yes,
Before we go any further, before I
yes,
forget, so there's this thing that we love saying, especially the now generation. We love saying this the phrase "you only live once," and if you don't get to spend some money on some things that you've never had, for example, maybe a type of food or maybe technology, you feel like you're you're missing out. And also, um, most people say problems never end. So if you keep on focusing on making sure that you save up on the money, making sure that you are maybe even debt free, you might be stuck focusing on that while forgetting the fun and forgetting to live. So what can you say about that?
you see, there's a scripture in the Bible. I'm not here to preach, but I read a very nice scripture, Cynthia, in the Bible. Lamentation chapter 3, verses 27. It says, better it is for a man to carry the yoke during his youth. What that scripture says. Which one is better? To enjoy yourself now and then to come and serve for a very long time, or to be able to miss out a little bit right now for a better tomorrow? What we are saying, when we say save up the monies for yourself
Mm.
and for any uncertainties, we're not saying you can't enjoy yourself. No, of course, it's your money. You can enjoy yourself. But what we are saying, don't overspend. Remember what we said earlier when we defined what financial discipline is. We said that financial discipline refers to how well you are able to conform to spending and saving to the plans you have set to achieve your monetary goals. Does that sound like you are missing out? You are not missing out. You are saving these monies for yourself. You are making these investments for yourself. I was on the street for a very long time. For over 10 years, I was selling Saraola. I had people from my school could come and pass through my stand. Some of them would buy from me, some of them would laugh at me. But now they call me that they want to borrow money. I was saving and I was investing. At the moment, I didn't even have a phone. I had a very small phone. So now I can buy any phone I like because it is paying off. So it's okay to miss out just for a little bit. It's fine. Don't live in the tyranny of now. There's tomorrow. If tomorrow your mom was to be hospitalized in a coma, they need to do a proper surgery. Will you have money to pay for that? If yourself you are sick right now, something happens to you, God forbid, would you have enough finances to be able to save yourself? So we're not saying when you save up, you're going to miss out. No. Yes, when you are saving up, don't expect a lifestyle to be the same because you have some goals that you want to achieve. When you achieve those goals, man, you'll be okay. You can go and buy any kind of phone you like, any car, whatever you like, because you've worked for those things. But when you are living in the eternal of not saying you live once, now that is a trap. That is a trap. Don't follow people say you live once. That is a trap for people to excuse themselves for wrong decisions that they make in life. Most people make wrong choices, say you live once, because that's how you know somebody is trying to defend themselves from whatever they did wrong in their lives. So no, I live once. So what if you live once? Should you suffer? And that is not even true anyway. So at a business level, when you go back to the business level, there, Cynthia, we're saying discipline at the business level means when you commit to making an investment, do that investment. Or before you invest, take some necessary steps to check out for risks that may be associated with the business. Also, check out who's going to buy from you. Also, find out in case this risk happened, what will be the impact on your financial status? How are you going to come back from this kind of impact? It's important to have all those things put in place. Don't just invest because somebody's saying it's a good business. Some people call and they say, "Hey, Cynthia, let's go and buy charcoal. Charcoal business is nice. Do you know anybody who sells charcoal?" Yes, I know they tell about their friends. Should you invest because somebody told you it's a good business? No. You yourself find out. Why should I invest in charcoal business? Is it the kind of business I want to do? Who is going to buy from me? What are the associated costs of charcoal business? What are the risks? What are the likelihood of these risks happening or impacting my finances? So at a business level, don't just make an investment, be disciplined. Only invest in viable businesses. Businesses you've well calculated, you've also looked at the risks that are involved, you've also looked at the rewards, you've also looked at the likelihood of those risks happening and the impact on your finances and how you can come back from those. You have a detailed plan put forward. Then you can take up a financial investment. So discipline at a business level requires a certain level of what? Of restraint to how you make investments. There are people today they get paid, they go and buy slippers that I'm doing business. No. Tomorrow they get paid, they go and buy chickens, they go and buy eggs. They don't even know what kind of business they are doing. They are just doing things because somebody told them it's nice. Do you know how long it took for somebody to tell you it's nice for them to make money? Do you know how long it took? Do you know what kind of clients they have? Do you know their clientele? Do you know what they sell? Do you know who buys from them? What do you know about these people? Because people tell you that this business is nice. But in practice, if you try it, you keep making losses. Why? They don't tell you everything. So find out. Just because someone says it's a good business, it doesn't mean it's a good business. Everyone wants to appreciate what they are doing. But do you know how long it took for them to have clients? Do you know that? So at a business level, don't just invest, make a detailed plan, find out, do consultations, spend a bit of money to acquire some knowledge. It's okay to do that.
Okay, so in terms of business and people trying to save their money, I've seen most people employ their relatives because they're trying to save some money because that's how they feel they're going to save some money. Because your relative, you can just be like, have this for talk time, oh, have this for this and that, and then you save up some of that money. Do you think that is the right way to go?
No, it's not. Actually, if you're going to employ a relative, let it be because the relative is qualified for the job and because they're able to perform, not because you want to make it. That is not right. It's like abuse. You're abusing your relative. So because you'll be buying for them talk time, so they should work for you for free. No. Shouldn't, if a relative is going to come to work for you, you have to be willing to pay them a salary as you are paying everybody else. But also, if you're going to bring a relative in your business, let it be because they can deliver. Let it be because they are qualified. Some people, they say don't work with your relatives because they may bring you down. That is not true. It may be true, it may also not be true, depending on the situation. If I need a doctor, I have a young brother who's a doctor, why shouldn't I employ my young brother and pay him the same salary as the doctor is supposed to pay? Because he's qualified for the job.
Thank you.
So there's no problem in employing my relative if he's qualified for the job. But there's everything wrong in employing a relative simply because he's your relative. This person can't deliver. You have to remember the relationship that exists between employer and employee is purely value addition relationship. It is not a love relationship. You employ people because of the value they are going to add to your business, not because they're going to tell you that you are nice. No. So the moment this person begins to make losses for you, kick them out, even though they are relatives, because the kind of relationship that you have is purely value addition. When you come for work, you are employee and employer. When you go home, maybe you are brother and sister, cousin, whatever, auntie, uncle. That's your problem. But at work, it's value addition. So there's nothing wrong if you employ a qualified relative and pay them as you are paying everyone else. It's okay. Don't just employ a relative because it's your relative. It's not qualified and begin to trample on people qualified, shouting at people qualified. It's not right.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? So
Yes.
make it clear to your relative that no, I'm giving you this job because you're qualified. And should you misbehave, you'll be subjected to the disciplinary action like everyone else. So that they know their position. In an event that they misbehave, let the disciplinary action take its course. Don't interfere. That way you're going to work very well.
We have some comments on Facebook. This one is from Kunda Esnatwipa. Well, both
Yes,
of them. So this is so insightful. I needed this. And then also Kunda is saying, I really need to work on unnecessary giving.
indeed.
Interesting. And then Shadrach Sinkala is also saying, I needed this so timely. Interesting. James Mulenga, nice topic. Dorothy Mapesa says Susan, she's calling her friend. Well, she's mentioned her friends, and she says we needed this reminder. And Dorothy Mapesa again, awesome topic. Watching from Long Acres. Hello, Long Acres. Great stuff. Okay, so we continue as we're winding up now. Is saving part of financial discipline, and how should one save for the better?
Yes. So, when we talk about saving, people think you have to go, you get your money, you put in the bank, then you forget about it. Some people think something like that. Now, when you get paid, go to the bank,
Mm,
get your money, withdraw it, put in your savings account, and forget about it. That is wrong. You see, saving can, what we are saying, when we talk about saving, for example, you can have a saving for just emergencies. Then, event that you have an emergency, where you should have a starting point at least. Even when you're asking for help, you have a starting point. You have something to start with, not you
mm,
completely have nothing. But also, it can be saving. Maybe you want to make to invest in a particular business. Now, I'll give you an example of a wrong way of saving money. Some people say land appreciates. So, you know what some people do? What do? They have a 50,000. They go to these estate companies or whoever is selling land, they buy land. That no, it's better I start building slowly because it's my house I live in. That is wrong. You are not different from that man in the Bible who borrowed money. If you all have a 50,000 and then you go and buy a plot, that means you and that man in the Bible, that third slave who borrowed money, there's no difference. Both of you don't see the value of multiplying money.
mm.
So what if you buy a plot? You only have 50,000, then you buy a plot. So what?
Because land does not depreciate; it appreciates.
Oh no, that is wrong. It is different if you are buying a plot because you want to come and resell. Have you seen her? If you have
Mm,
50,000 and then it's okay, I don't want to misuse it. Let me buy land so that when it gains some value, I can sell it. That's different. That is an investment specifically for the purpose of reselling in the future. That is okay. But what is wrong if you own up a 50,000 and then you go and buy plot that you want to build a house? That is totally wrong. Do you know why that is not so nice, not so wise?
mm.
You've borrowed money which can multiply. Why don't you invest that 50,000 in a viable business through proper consultation so that you can make some profits? And then from those profits, you can now buy land and begin building. While you're still making some more profits. Have you seen? You can't have 50,000 only in your bank account, and the only thing you do is buy a plot because you want to build a house. You know, when you have money, you can even offer somebody where they are staying. I've seen people offer the owner of the house. No, I like your house and I like your location. Could you sell me? I'll give you 1 million kwacha. I've seen people shift because you have enough. You can buy land anywhere if you have enough money. You can buy a house anywhere. You can make an offer anywhere. Anybody can accept a good offer. You see? So when you are buying land, is it because you want to build a house? Or is it because you want to come and resell? If you want to come and resell, well and good, because you're going to appreciate, you sell at a profit. But if you are buying land because you want to build a house and only have 50,000 you spent on land, between you and that guy in the Bible buried money, there's no difference. The own money you had, you've buried it. So now what do? You begin to look for money to buy cement, to pay the bricklayer, to buy the required thing. No, that is not so wise. Get that money, invest it, sit down with consultants, with people like me. You can call me. We can give you proposals for the business that you can do. Then we also walk you through on the expected returns. Then you decide which business to invest. We don't decide for you, we just give you options. Then you decide for yourself. But when you begin to make some returns, then you can use those returns to build a house at your own pace, a house you're going to like, a house you're going to be happy with, because you're not stressed. But if you only have 50,000 to buy a plot, start fighting with your wife or your husband because you don't have money, you begin to go in debt. You look like you are sick because you can't eat healthy. You buyed your money. It's not right. So
All right.
saving,
Oh,
yes.
you were saying something.
So saving should be a good way. Saving should be in a very good way. So when you save, are you saving because you just want money to be in the bank? Or are you saving because you want to make an investment? That's the question you have to answer on your own. Yeah.
All right. As we're winding up, the last question is: how is lack of financial discipline reflected in how people buy assets or properties?
Okay, so in terms of how people buy assets or properties, now you see, this is what we're talking about. Financial discipline is seen in many things. Like I was saying, let's say you have a 20,000 or a 32,000 right now, Cynthia. We have to understand the difference between being able to manage to buy something and being able to afford to buy something. If you have a 32,000 right now, you can afford to go and get a nice iPhone for yourself. If you have a 32,000 right now, you can manage to buy because that's what you have. You can manage to go and buy. But is it really true that you can afford it? There's a difference. If you have 100,000 in your bank account, that means you can manage, you can afford to buy an iPhone at 32,000 because you're going to have something remaining in your bank account. But if you only have a 32,000 kwacha, that means you can't afford, you can only manage. Why? Because once you spend that 2,000 kwacha, you have nothing else remaining. So if you have 100,000, can you afford to buy a car? The answer is no, you can't. You can only manage because once you buy that car, all your savings are gone. You go back to zero. You can't afford. If you have an accident, if you have anything to change, you begin to borrow money to fix your car because you can't afford. So it's important as you are buying assets, reflect financial discipline. Buy things you can afford, not things you can manage. Things you can manage will keep draining your finances back. It's like when you get paid, your car has a problem, the whole salary goes to fixing a car. You buy it a spare tire. You buy what? Because you can't afford. But if you can afford, even if you have a problem with your car, you don't even feel it. All you do, you go to the bank, get the money, pay the mechanic, they fix it, you forget. You don't even feel any difference. You don't borrow money from anybody to do that because you can afford. So we want to reflect financial discipline in how we acquire our properties and our assets. Let's acquire assets that we can afford, properties that we can afford, not just manage. Now, a car, as you know, as an accountant, a car is not an asset. A car is an expense. It keeps getting money out of your bank account. Everybody knows that. So if you have a 30,000 kwacha today, buy something that you can afford or invest in something that can give you a return at the end of the day. Don't just buy because your neighbor is driving, you also want to drive. No, things don't work like that. You don't know how your neighbor made those monies. You don't know what your neighbor eats at home. You don't know where your neighbor sleeps. You don't know what kind of phone calls your neighbor receives. You don't know that. So buy things you can afford, not things you can manage. So assets should be those ones that are giving us a return. Like you said, you wanted to buy land because you want to resell. That's an asset because it's going to give back money in your bank account at some future date. You understand? But if you buy a car because you want to be going with a car at work, that's not an asset. It's an expense. It has taken money away from you and will keep on taking money from you. While a car is not a bad thing to have, it can be a nightmare to have at the point where you can't afford it. Have it at the point where you're able to afford. And the car is good for movement. Such a necessity. You need a vehicle to make some necessary movement. It's a good thing. But if you can't afford it, wait until you can afford it, then you can have it. So you don't strain your finances. You don't begin to look as if your wife is so demanding because you are broke. No. So when you have a good financial health, you're going to save in your mental health, your general health is going to improve. If you have magases, I think it's just because of being broke, too much stress. Once you have enough finances, all these things disappear. You even be surprised that gases are gone. You didn't even have to use anything. Why? Because you are happy. There's no too much stress in your system. You are okay. If my house has fiapo, my gas is fiapo, and you're just fit. Even your skin changes because you have good saving. Yes. Yeah.
I have seen that before. Most people say when you have some money, of course, your skin changes, and maybe you start looking light, yeah, you know. And
Yeah,
some
you
people
look
start.
good because you're happy. There's no stress hormone in your system. Pimples go, disappear because you're comfortable. Yeah.
Indeed. All right, we're out of time. I wish this discussion could continue, but we have to go. We have to go, and
Indeed.
yeah. So you, the listener, will only get to listen to this segment next week on Tuesday. So make sure that you stay tuned to Money FM 93.7 FM and get to know more about accounting in business. Thank you so much, Mr. Lusambo.
Thank you so much, Cynthia. It's always a joy to be with you here. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Indeed, it's always a pleasure to have you.
Sure, indeed. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for staying tuned and bye bye.
Bye. Our viewers, thank you so much for joining us.